Another day of Roland Garros action is over and Joao Fonseca does it again. He wins in straight sets, this time against Herbert. We had Djokovic through in straight sets, and then we capped off the day with Jack Draper defeating Gael Monfils.
Jack Draper, forget Andy Murray, move aside because we have Jack Draper from the UK, and what a special talent he is. He defeats Gael Monfils with the French crowd there at Roland Garros, and Gael Monfils was incredible. Some of the shots we saw from him, the highlight reels, is typical Gael Monfils. There was one moment where people were saying only Carlos Alcaraz or a Gael Monfils would take this shot on and win it. And, well, the latter happened because Gael Monfils won the point. And it was just a real good match between two awesome players. It didn't feel like there was any losers. Gael Monfils can leave with his head held high because at 38 years old, he's playing some of the best tennis he's ever played. And he was pretty good last month. He's looking still good now, and I'm expecting him to have a fantastic year still with plenty more tennis left in him. But Jack Draper wins, and it sets up a classic. Joao Fonseca, Jack Draper in the next round. We've spoke about Fonseca quite a bit, and I think this one is going to break records for viewership because everyone's going to want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, both of them defeating Frenchmen as well today. And Jack Draper showing that he can go into the trenches just to win. And he was 5-2 down in that final set. Oh, I say final set. It was the fourth set, but it was the final set of the match that transpired to be. He came through. He won 5 games in a row and showed that his ranking means a lot. I think that he really used a lot of the experience that he's gained over the last few months and proved to not only himself, to his team, to the UK, but to the French crowd who were like solely on Gael Monfils' side tonight. I mean, you can't expect it any other way. No. But yeah, he was just geeing himself up the whole way. He's like, come on, Jack. Come on. He's like just constantly talking to himself. I quite like this new Jack Draper. He's very passionate. And he's very like self-assured, and he doesn't really care if there's other people who are against him, whether it be on the court or in the crowd. He's very focused, and he was able to get the job done. I thought it was a great performance from Monfils. The hug at the net at the end, just like Monfils in losing. He was talking the whole way through the match, like laughing, joking. I couldn't believe he was like nearly going to take it to 5. I was like, he's doing it again against one of the best players in the world. What absolute legend Gael Monfils is, and the hug at the net. This is a little shot for everybody.
It was a big moment. The embrace was good. Monfils, you'd see him on the camera there smiling away. It's like he's just won the match. I think he's just generally pleased for Jack. Of course, they've got a lot of history. They've practiced a lot together. There was behind the scenes a lot of UTS and exhibitions. We saw them both speaking behind the scenes. And he's got a lot of admiration for Jack. He said it's going to be a really challenging match. Not many people are going to expect him to win. But he's genuinely pleased for Draper. And their relationship's very special. Jack clearly feels very strongly about Gael as well. And yeah, we need more years of Gael Monfils on the tour because he's a really positive, shining light and someone who's given us a lot of time as well on the channel. We spoke to him on several different occasions now. And I think now everything turns to the next match in tennis. We enjoyed this one. We got to see some great shots and the crowd was entertained. They're going to be entertained for the next one. And we've got to speak about it because Joao Fonseca wins his match. Yet to drop a set, Joao Fonseca, by the way.
Yep.
And beats Herbert, like you said, another Frenchman. It was very tight. Tie breaks we saw and a 6-4. He's only 18 years old, into the third round of a slam for the first ever time. In his last match, he became the youngest Brazilian to win a match at Roland Garros since 1963. And they've wrote here, talent dripping off him. The world isn't ready. Well, we are ready because we need more challengers to the Sinner Alcaraz duo at the moment. Holger Rune tried it. Maybe this kid's going to be the next thing. I still think he's still fresh and he's going to need a few more years on the tour. Do I think he can beat Jack Draper? Yes, I do. I generally do. I think he's such a great talent. Even when he lost at the Australian Open, it was, I believe, in 5 sets to Sonego. So it wasn't like he got just blitzed off the court. So this guy has always performed in Grand Slams.
It's on his favourite surface now.
We've got 2 of them this year, but still, he has risen to the big matches of Grand Slam tennis. And I think on that basis, we should be in for a really good match. And I don't see it being a Jack Draper straight set victory.
No, this should be very competitive. But the one thing that you have to remember that he's now playing a top 5 player in the next match. He's played him once before. He got bageled the last time he played Jack Draper. Maybe that will be stinging and he probably will want revenge. But something that I was noticing in his match today against Herbert, I know it was very close, and credit to Herbert, like we haven't really seen much of him, but the fact he's come in and he actually gave him a very, very competitive match. The level of power, I think, surprises some of the players down the other end of the court. And Herbert was serving, and as soon as he'd finished his service motion, the ball was on his foot, I think, again. And he was like, oh, my God, you have to have like cat-like reactions to even get one of his returns back. Some of the rallies that he finished, he just suddenly just thought, oh, I'm going to tee up this backhand now. Boom, like back across court. It was right next to him. He was just looked at it. It just off the clay. Is a special talent. I mean, Jack Draper's got power, but I think on clay, Fonseca may be more powerful from looking at the flatness of the way he hits the ball.
It looks it when you watch the shots fly off his racket. I mean, 115 mile an hour forehands firing down from all over the place. This match, I think, will be different to the last time they played. I feel Fonseca's growing into his body with every match and every experience. He's only going to get better, and I feel like his line on the graph is a lot steeper than Jack Draper's right now, because Jack Draper's approaching. He's already reached his summit, I feel, at the moment. Of course, I think he's still going to get better, but it's not going to be as steep of a line going up. Fonseca's on the steep curve upwards, and with every match, he's getting better and better and better.
I think we could be surprised in this match. I know that from how good Fonseca looks, but we can only really judge him from who he's just beaten, really. Herbert, I thought, played well. I think Jack Draper is another level up. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And if Jack Draper really digs in and actually just takes the game to Fonseca, I think you have to be aggressive. You can't allow Fonseca to hit through the ball, because if you do, you're going to be on the wrong end of a drubbing. Jack Draper could do a number on him again if he really plays his best tennis. But Fonseca, this is his surface now. We're into sort of his realm. This isn't Jack Draper's realm, the clay courts. This is Fonseca's realm. And if he's any place he's going to be getting revenge, it's going to be here. And I think he's been waiting for this Roland Garros. He's been thinking, like, if I'm going to really show up on the big stage, it's going to be Roland Garros. More so than the Australian Open was great, but that really wasn't where we're expecting him to shine. This is where it is. And I think he's come into this tournament with the bit between his teeth. I think that he believes probably that he could probably win it. That's the way I think that he's thinking in his mind right now.
Yep, and he's up another 11 places in the live rankings. Currently at 54 in the world, Joao Fonseca. If he can win the next match, he will probably, just trying to work it out, he'll fly inside the top 50, put it that way.
Wow.
And he'll be up there with Jacob Fernley, who's also cracked the top 50 today. He's 48 in the world, Fernley, and another good talent from the UK. We've got Draper and Fernley flying the flag. And Fernley, obviously, a little bit sooner on his journey, but I think he could be a really good player too.
Yeah, we got Draper, Fonseca and Fernley all knocking out French players today. I think Humbert retired though, didn't he, from this match? So
didn't see much of that one.
Good for Fernley though, because it means he didn't have to have a particularly tough matchup. And now Jacob Fernley in the next round will be playing Cam Norrie. So we're guaranteed a Brit in round 4 and a winnable match again. Even though Cam Norrie is playing very well at the moment, you've got to give him some credit. Knocked out Medvedev, knocked out Gomez in straight sets. Now he'll be expecting to maybe beat Fernley. And then there's Djokovic or Mihajlovic in the 4th round. And, well, I think Djokovic right now, we may as well move on to his performance today, because it was a bit of an easy win, I think, at the end of the day. This one, the 3rd set was competitive. Moutet had a few little trick shots in there as well, which was nice to see. Very entertaining, but that doesn't win you tennis matches. Novak Djokovic shows you how to win it. And as soon as it got to the tie break, it was only one person was going to win it. He absolutely killed him in the tie break, 7-1. Comfortable win for Novak.
Yeah, I knew the moment it got to tie break, Djokovic was winning. I believe he was up 4-2, wasn't he, at one point in the 3rd set, Moutet.
Yeah.
He was looking quite strong in that one. 83 minutes, Morgado serve, and he saved a set point. But yes, Djokovic is levels above a Moutet. And this was never really an upset. I never looked at this match as a potential upset. Moutet's the type of player who the big players will always just beat, I feel. You'll see some good matches with Moutet and other players around his ranking, but the real top elite players, no chance. I just don't think he's got enough weapons, and his trick shots only go so far. It doesn't phase, I think, the world's best players, because they're not bothered by it. They're assured about what they're doing, and whereas that can rattle or get under the skin of other players, that is not going to get under the skin of Novak Djokovic. He's not bothered. He can do anything. He can do a handstand the other side of the net. He's not bothered what Moutet's doing. He's playing his own game. Do I look at this performance and think now Djokovic is a contender to win? No, I don't. I don't think we've seen him tested enough, and his tournament will be starting very soon, because the moment he starts playing some better players and better opposition where he can be pushed and stretched, that's where we're going to see what Djokovic is made of this year. But you'd have to say you'd be encouraged with how he's played compared to other matches this year.
Yeah, and we should always note as well, we've just spoken about the last 3 matches, a Frenchman going out. There's another one. Another Frenchman out in this match too. And I think there's a good caveat to move over to the next one, which was another Frenchman going out in Richard Gasquet. So all the French players getting knocked out, it seems today. Was there any French players that stayed in? Arthur Fies, there you go. He's the only one.
Just as well.
Skin of his teeth.
He was pretty much out. He was struggling physically and then managed to come through. Yannick Sinner, there's nothing to speak about with this match. We caught a little bit of it in the office today at work. And it was just one-sided beat down like we would expect. Of course, Gasquet's retiring. He spoke about his retirement. He's a legend of the sport. I think you can consider him as that, because he's been around for so long and played at the top of the game. And all of the great players have admiration for him. We know how favorably Nadal speaks about Gasquet, a massive part of his career growing up. Sinner said how he used to watch him too. Alcaraz as well. He's loved on the tour because he's brought a really attractive brand of tennis. His backhand's phenomenal, and he's going to be sorely missed. But it's done now. Let's be fair. He's not going to be able to compete at the top level and win tournaments ever again. But what a career he's had. And he did speak about his retirement in the post-match interviews, and he said he's probably going to pick up a racket very soon after retiring, because he loves to play tennis. And I thought that was quite pure and nice to see. He's not doing it just for the money or for any other reasons. He just loves playing the game, and he's a real great ambassador to the sport.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And the guy also famous with the classic half a grip on his tennis racket. Only holds it by the tiny little bit at the end. And just how does he manage that backhand? There were still some amazing backhands today, but you're just never beating Yannick Sinner with just that trick in your book. Somebody who did have a few tricks in their book today, and I can't even believe that this even happened, was Alex Bublik. He came back from 2-0 down against Alex de Minaur to win in 5. I never would have seen this
No,
coming, ever.
not in a million years. Especially from 2 sets up, de Minaur losing, astonishing against Bublik on the clay court. Didn't see it happening. You'd say it's probably the biggest shock of the day, but I'd probably say Rocha beating Mensik was bigger.
Yeah.
But let us know in the comments section, what is a bigger upset? Bublik beating de Minaur or Rocha beating Mensik? For me, I think Rocha just edges it. We'll go on to that one in a second. But that is the two big upsets of the day. And they're in the same part of the draw. And who's that going to benefit, Ben?
I believe that's going to benefit Joao Fonseca if he was able to get through, or Jack Draper, obviously. So it's looking up for everybody in that section because it's a bit of a free-for-all. So you can't look past, obviously, Fonseca or Draper. But if they do go through, you would expect them to win that next match against either Bublik or Rocha.
Yeah, wild. I don't even know who would win out of Bublik and Rocha. Because I didn't expect either of them. I have a feeling maybe Rocha might go again. He's better than I thought he was. We got to see him live, didn't we? Not too long
Sat
ago.
next to him.
We sat next to him. Didn't speak to him because it was a bit awkward just to start chatting to him. Seemed like a nice guy. He was there with his family and his coaches. But I don't know. I didn't look at him when he was playing. I think he was particularly special. But he is a young guy, 200 in the world. A lot of potential, but to beat Mensik, I mean, that just shows the level and ability he has.
From 2
And
sets
if he can,
down.
from 2 sets down, I think if he can do that, then who's to say he can't wipe the floor with Bublik as well?
I think that's what we were looking at when we were watching. He was obviously there with the other Portuguese player, Jamie Farrier, and Farrier was doing a bit better than him because seemed to be a bit more consistent. Rocha seems to be a lot of power, but there was a lot of unforced errors, and that was what his downfall was. Clearly, if he puts it all together, he is very, very good quality. He looks a little bit on a court, if you see him in person, like a mini Nadal. That's what we thought. Quite tanned, quite muscular.
The biceps, he's always got them out.
There he is. We'll zoom in on them, but not quite Rafa standard yet. But maybe he'll grow them as time comes. A real good opportunity for him. I mean, we had Farrier sort of putting himself on the map.
Yep.
Now we've had Rocha putting himself on the map. I bet Jose Morgado's loving this. All these Portuguese players coming through now.
Borges yesterday too. Don't forget Borges.
True.
I mean, it's been a great tournament for Portuguese tennis, and I don't think that's happened too often over the years. It's not been that many great Portuguese players. Of course, we used to love, Joao Sousa.
Sousa, yeah. Pedro Sousa as well.
Sousa. And Joao Sousa used to do quite well in some of the slams. But yeah, I think Rocha has the ability to go quite far. Moving on to the women's just quickly, Ben.
I was going to say, just want to speak about this one just before. Do you reckon we're going to see some of these from Bublik against Rocha in the next round? This was one of the points that he had today. Obviously, we can't play it because it'll get pulled down, but I've just paused it on what happened. He did the casual tweener during the rally on set point, and then Alex de Minaur was brought to the net with this tweener, and then he just did a nice passing shot past him.
Oh, yeah, the backhand down the line, right?
Down the line, down there. Yeah, I mean, outrageous. I'm sorry, but to do that on set point, Bublik, I think, is exhibition first and then thinking tennis professional later.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but it's not going to get you that far. People are going to love it, I'm sure. It doesn't excite me that much. Good to see in spells, but he's going to probably lose the next few matches. I don't see him. You don't win tournament Grand Slams playing this exhibition style of tennis. And if anyone can point me in the direction of someone who does that and wins Grand Slams, I'm happy to be corrected. But I don't think that is the winning formula. He doesn't do that. That's not what he is. He can go down the route of being sometimes too much of a showman, but on the whole, he's very professional, I would say, Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, he just has flashes of brilliance. Go on, what were you going to say about the women's? Because I feel like the men's there's so many results today that are crazy that the women's have been very overshadowed today.
Well, what was there? 15 matches on the women's, and it's probably the first time I've ever seen this, that out of the 15 matches, every single one of them, the favourite won. So there was
Yeah.
not one player who wasn't the favourite in the match who didn't win,
Crazy.
which
Yeah.
does not happen often at all. I mean,
Not on the
Kenin beat
women's.
Azarenka. I thought it was going to be ruined towards the end when Azarenka went up a break early. I thought maybe she could win that. We had some people commenting the other day saying, "Oh, you need to speak more about Azarenka. You keep saying she's finished and she can do well. Her section's opened up." Just loses straight sets to Kenin. Unfortunately, she's been a great servant to the sport, but it's just on the decline. She's going to be getting worse, I believe, with every tournament what passes, and it's going to be difficult for her to hit with some of these really good talents on the tour right now. And Kenin's not one of them, and she lost in straight sets. But really, a good one to start with is Mir Andreeva, the girl who I've got winning the whole thing. I think she's played quite passively throughout this tournament, very consistent,
Yep.
but there's a lot more of a level in her. I think she's getting the breaks and just slamming on the break, just doing enough to get through every match. And that's what you're seeing with the score as well. It's very conservative tennis from someone who's very young, but playing in a very experienced manner. Reminds me very much like a Rafael Nadal or a Djokovic early rounds through the slams in their favourite slams, where they're just reserving the tank and doing what they can, just doing what they need to do to get through each round. And I'm still hopeful that she can go all the way and win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely looks like she's becoming more of a model professional, doesn't she? Like very, very confident and just does enough. Like don't use any more than you need to. And to be able to do that 18 years old is just crazy to me. I mean, even someone like Carlos Alcaraz, I don't think's even learned that now. I think he goes a bit gun-ho still in a lot of his matches. But that's the excitement we get from him. Maybe she's saving up for some big performance, which is coming up in the next few rounds because, well, she's a special talent. And we both expect her to go deep in this tournament. You've got her winning it. I've got her, I think, in the I've got her in the final as well. Yeah. So that's what I mean. We've both gone big on Mila Andreeva in this tournament. Her next matchup will be against Putintseva, who is just making her way through the draw, beat Garland. And then the winner of that would play Kasatkina or Badosa. So nice little section there. I think Mila Andreeva would be happy. And I think she'll be quite confident in herself that she can get through that too.
Yeah, I mean, today's matches, a lot of them were straight sets and comfortable.
Yeah.
There's a few free in there. Good to speak about. Where is it? The one I want to speak about?
Krejcikova.
Yeah, Krejcikova, you're right. That's the one. We were speaking about it, wasn't we?
Yeah.
Because at one point we was like, oh, she's probably going to get double bageled here. She just did not turn up at all. Looked uninterested out there. And I don't think she's in a very good spot considering she won a Grand Slam only last year at Wimbledon. You need to pinch yourself to remember that one. I can't believe that she won a Grand Slam last year, but she just looks so off it at the moment.
Maybe she wins the US Open.
The thing with her, I'm never going to write her off completely because I think she just can just spring back into life at one tournament.
Yeah, you never know what's going on off court as well. There could be just some personal things that she's going through. You never know, do you? Like everybody has their own lives that they're dealing with whilst playing these sports. Maybe she's just living the dream that she's a two-slam champion and she's just off spending the money. Who knows what's going on with Barbora Krejcikova? But other than that, looking down the list of some of the other results, like you said, it's everyone was expected someone more dominant than we thought. But Keys demolished Balter. She's looking pretty good, Madison Keys. But other than that, Pegula's through. She's not had the most difficult draw though. And other than that, no, I'm going back to the men's. I'm sorry that there's just much more to talk about. We had Shapovalov going out to Mihalik, the qualifier, who's normally in challengers. He's now through. He faces Djokovic in the next round. Another five-setter. Lots of five-setters. I think there was.
But that's not shocking. That's not shocking, Mihalik beating Shapo. I thought that was on the cards.
It was on the cards, but still an underdog win on the men's again. You see another one. We got Ethan Quinn knocking out Shevchenko. Another slight underdogs, these ones, but still they weren't expected to win. Shevchenko is quite a good clay court player as well. So
yeah, that one surprised me maybe more than the other one, but Mensik I think is quality, and
yeah, very good.
I actually think that could be a better match against Djokovic. I don't suppose it's going to trouble him, but maybe we could see a closer match than the Mutet one. Maybe he might take a set, but I think it's a real push. I'm going big on Djokovic to beat Mensik. He'll be pleased that he's playing him. For Mensik's actually, I think, a very good player.
I think that he could sneak.
He's an improving player,
but it's one of those scenarios where you play Djokovic. I've definitely never played him before. I'm sure, at least not competitively, and it's going to be like deer in the headlights. Probably I'm on the biggest court. I'm playing the greatest player, and what can I do? Like, do I want to get a selfie with him at the end and be his buddy? And that's one of them for me. I think it's going to be, he might win a set, but he won't win the match. Kaboli, though, I want to speak about because he's never beaten. Oh no, he has beaten Arnaldi once. The first time they played, I think they played 3 challenger matches against each other, and the last time they played on the actual ATP tour, Arnaldi beat him. But Arnaldi won the last 3 against him. But what confidence does for a player coming in, winning a tournament, coming into this, he's just taken out Arnaldi now in 4 sets. Impressive.
It's fascinating because before the match, I'd put them at completely level. I couldn't really separate them at all. Part of me would think maybe Arnaldi's slightly better because he's been doing it a little longer, it seems. But
1 year between them.
Kaboli, I think, has just surpassed Arnaldi slightly. I think he's he's just a slightly better player. Gigante's coming into that conversation soon. I think his level's not too far off either of them two. And let's see how he gets on in the next one against Shelton, I believe. So, yeah, Italian tennis doing well as ever. And Kaboli, now the man over Arnaldi.
And if Flavio Kaboli wins his next match, he could be just outside the top 20. I think he'll move up to like 21 in the world. So there's a big one. He's up to 25 at the moment. He's already above Arnaldi. I think Arnaldi's down in about 40 or 41, something like that. So, yeah, that tournament win coming in, now progressing even further than him. He's just trying to get as close as he can to Jannik Sinner. Everybody's trying to climb the mountain and see if they can get to the top. But Jannik Sinner's level, I'm sure, probably I'd say about 5 times better than Kaboli right now.
Yeah, Sinner, don't write him off. Everyone's saying Alcaraz looks the outright favourite. His draw's opening up, but Sinner can just cruise through and do anything he wants to do, really. He's the best player in the world without a doubt. Just having a look to tomorrow.
Sure.
There's some interesting matchups on the women's. I think as much as we've seen a lot of one-sided ones today, it's going to be completely different tomorrow. I can't call all of them.
Wow.
The big one I think is going to be 2 of them. Mboko Zheng. Yep. I think Mboko could beat your player, your champion. And Rybak and Ostapenko, I can't call it. I think that can go either way. Danilovic, I think, could trouble Sabalenka as well. That's just some early ones there. And on the men's, we've got your boyfriend playing at 10 o'clock, Lorenzo Musetti. People have started to notice that in the comments section, saying that you fancy him. And I've known it for a long time, so I'm glad everyone else knows it now.
Well, I might get one of his baggy shirts just to cheer him on, and trying to maybe get some Lorenzo Musetti style beard soon. I've gone away from the Mutet look. I'm going to start trying to really make it a little bit shorter.
Yeah, but forget about trying to look like him. Do you fancy him?
God, he's a beautiful man. So is Berrettini, though. I think it's just something with these Italians, mate.
What about Sinner? You don't fancy him?
A little bit pale for my life. Yeah, but he is a good player as well. It does help. He has an attractive game, doesn't he? That single-handed backhand and the way that he's able to produce tennis at the highest level, that draws me in too.
Yeah, you don't salivate about Gasquet in the same way.
Oh, I do. That backhand. And the way that he grips that racket.
All right, I'm moving on. And I think I'm moving on out of here completely. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we see you tomorrow for more Roland Garros action.
Ba, 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 da, ba.